Beginning October 1st, 2012, a new publication will be flying off bookstore shelves. In their book, Empowered Youth, A Father and Son's Journey to Conscious Living, authors Michael Eisen and Jeffrey Eisen tell a candid story of how they radically repaired their do as I say and not as I do relationship to one of compassionate understanding and love. The fabulous Eisen men are here to talk with me about their book and this month's MasterHeartMagazine.com Worthiness theme. Gentlemen, this book took a lot of guts. I can't remember hearing of any other father and son memoir that does what you've done.
I think there are a lot of mother-daughter books, and it's time for the males of our world to come forth and tell their stories. So we're really, really pleased that as father and son, we are somewhat coming out into the open and telling our story, because I don't think it is that unique. Unfortunately,
that really is true. Your story is way too common, and in the book you both talk a lot about how hard getting through everyday life was for you personally. Why do you think so many struggle so much?
I believe that we are facing an epidemic on this planet, and that epidemic is with a lack of self-worth and self-love and self-esteem. I think we're born into this world, we're born into these bodies with a natural ability to love, respect, and value ourselves. And from the first time that we hear the word no, I've heard that a lot from him, we start to lose that value. We start to question our ability to make decisions for ourselves, to think for ourselves, to feel for ourselves, and ultimately actually develop a habit of giving other people in our lives our power. And when we give other people our power, then ultimately later on in our lives, we're trying to reclaim our self-worth and our self-esteem and our self-love from the very people that stripped it away from us in the first place.
That's not a very fun way for anyone to live. However, it is the reality for the majority of people watching. Your writing is very honest about how that happened to both of you.
I was raised by parents who only saw things from their perspective, and I continued that in our family by only seeing things from my perspective. I never really got a chance to be me or understand me, because I was always trying to please others. It was very interesting that as I began my journey of self-discovery around 50, I was a relatively successful businessman, and I had accomplished a lot. I had many people reporting to me. I was running a multi-million-dollar company. And yet, when I began to look inwards, I realized I did not feel good enough about myself.
So how do we move through that? What's the first step to making that change? Making it different and reclaiming our worthiness?
Well, I think the most important thing is that we have to take personal responsibility for what we're going through. Make the changes within yourself and understand that you don't ultimately need to depend on that support from other people. It will just come as you make those changes within yourself.
It's so easy to blame someone else for your circumstance in life, but what we have both found is that by owning that personal responsibility, by getting in touch with our feelings and expressing them in a healthy way, we become much fuller as human beings.
And when we start to focus on getting back to that place of that natural ability to love, value, respect ourselves, we no longer depend on it from anybody else in our lives. And as a result, we become more self-sufficient in the way that we are living. And we're able to not only feel a lot more empowered and more fulfilled, we're able to treat others with that same fulfillment and empowerment and love and respect.
As father and son, well, as men, you've taken on a subject that is still almost completely ignored in societies all over the globe, and that's living from your heart center. Why is it so important for us to be empowered by our own heart?
We live in a society that values so much of the logical and the rational thinking. We get away from what matters the most, which is our feelings.
I lived a lot of my life in my head without truly feeling and being in touch with that very, very important part of me, my heart. I have become an advocate for feelings and for heart-centeredness. I think it is the most important thing that we can do as human beings.
Following your heart is ultimately the key to living a truly fulfilled life. It's ultimately the key to discovering what your dreams and what your desires are and actually seeing them become a reality. And I ultimately believe that that's how we're going to empower this next generation, and that's how we're going to change the world in a much more positive way.
Thank you both so much for your book and for speaking with me. Louise Hay, founder of Hay House Publishing, was so in sync with their story that she had this to say in the foreword she wrote for the book. There's a better life to be lived if we're willing to make some changes in the way we think, speak, and act. Parents can heal, children can heal, and entire families can heal together. Michael and Jeffrey show us a way. I'm Mary Giuffre for Masterheart TV.